Testing for YouTube. One, two, three.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to recognize that this is Mike Fox's last regular meeting as our CAO. So on behalf of council, I just want to say thank you for your leadership and your dedication to this role and the incredible work you've done through some very challenging times. The city is in a better position because of your efforts, and we're grateful for the professionalism and care you've brought to the organization and to this community. We wish you all the best in your next chapter, Mike. Thanks. And how about our We'll do that next time. I also want to thank everyone for being here. I want to acknowledge that there are a number of you here today who care deeply about issues that are outside of today's agenda, but nonetheless relevant to all of you, of course. I want to say that we respect everyone's right to attend and to express their views. I would like to remind everyone that council meetings are for conducting the business of the city as outlined in the agenda. We do have a question period at the end, but it is limited to questions related to agenda items only. So there will not be an opportunity to speak to other matters today. We also ask that everyone, including those with signs, be mindful to not disrupt the meeting, distract council, or block the view of others in the gallery who are here for various other reasons that are important to them as well. So thank you very much for your consideration and cooperation. I will now call this meeting to order. I will start by acknowledging and recognizing that we work, live, and play in the city of Port Alberni, which is situated on the unceded territories of the Sachot and Hupechesett First Nations. Are there any late items identified by council? Councillor Haggard.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Dame. I would like to have a notice of motion. I'd like to move that staff organize tours of local supporting housing sites in order to have the information necessary and required to include in a possible lease agreement with BC Housing.
Thank you, Councillor Haggard. Could you repeat that one more time, just a little louder?
Okay. I'd like to move that staff organize tours of local supportive housing sites in order that we have the information necessary and required to include in a possible lease agreement with BC Housing.
Thank you very much. So that's a notice of motion. Anyone else? Oh, it's just a notice. Any late items as identified by the corporate officer?
No late items, Chair Dame.
Thank you. Then moving on, I'd like to give notice that this meeting is being video recorded and live streamed and broadcast on YouTube. Could I get a motion that the agenda be approved as circulated? As amended. Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carried. Are there any comments on the minutes of the special and regular meetings of council held on January 12th? Seen. Motion to receive by Charles, or by Councillor Mealy? Adoption, sorry. My apologies, yeah. Seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. There are no delegations today. No unfinished business. Moving on to staff reports. We have quarterly departmental reports from Economic Development, Human Resources, and Corporate Services.
Good afternoon, Council. I would like to review some of the key activities that took place in the last quarter of 2025 and provide a brief update. With respect to the RFP for branding services, we had 28 responses. With respect to Hometown Takeover Canada, we continue our communications with them. The Business Development and Property Advisor, who will be working on non-tax revenue files, as well as the marinas and campgrounds, starts February 2nd. IGV Housing has approximately 30 full-time employees at present and begin their prototype building next month. They hope to be double in staff by April 30th. Ship Recycling Leadership Group, an RFQ is being issued for a business case. The 150 Time Immemorial project is nearing completion. The carving shed that is adjacent to it will be coming down. With respect to the Healthcare Summit, recently the MLA convened an afternoon session to explore aspects of it. As a result of that, Community Futures and the Alberni Valley Healthcare Fund Society, along with the Alberni Low Energy Housing Society, are convening a town hall at the Capitol Theater Sunday, February 8th at 6 p.m. And the Alberni Valley Chamber of Commerce is convening a follow-up member meeting at 9 a.m. on February 18th. And then with respect to the Forestry Coalition, they are looking at renewing a fiber agreement and looking for a video creator to present the case for forestry. And then finally, two other items. One is I'd like to alert people to the opportunity to lease Unit 7, which is the home, has been the home for the Community Arts Council. That lease arrangement is going to be advertised in the Alberni Valley News tomorrow and February 1st, and proposals are being accepted to February 11th on that. And then finally, I just like to take an opportunity to note that we are continuing the stream of streak of about one new family a day moving into the community, as we just received a report from Neighborhood Welcome today covering December. Pleased to answer any questions that council might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, that's it. Do you have a question? Oh, thank you very much, Director.
Thank you.
Moving on to, what's next? Human Resources.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Included in the agenda package today is the written quarterly report for Human Resources and Police Support Services for the period ending December 31st, 2025. I will touch on some of the highlights of it verbally, but I will keep it brief today. Before I do though, I will note again that the majority of the work performed by our department is related, to personnel, labor relations, or matters that are confidential in nature, so obviously not appropriate to include in the reporting. As a result, I'm only able to report on a portion of the work that our department does. So a few of the highlights for Q4 for our department include recruitment. We continue to be recruiting for a number of different positions and across the organization. A number of these recruitments concluded in Q4. Some of the folks are in place already. We will have a number of new employees joining our organization in Q1 as well, and a number of ongoing recruitments. If you look at the year-end recruitment and posting numbers, so when we get to the year-end, it gives us the opportunity to compare numbers year over year. Recruitment and internal posting activity continue to be high, although we did see a small decrease in our numbers from 2024. In regards to safety, there's been a great deal of work happening. One of the big items concluded in Q4 was that we completed the core audit action plan. So that was completed and submitted as required. And this document drives a lot of the work that we do in safety throughout 2026. If we are able to look at the year-end safety statistics numbers. So we saw some really great reductions in some of the key numbers with regard to our safety statistics at year-end of 2025. You will see that the number of total first aids for the year was quite significantly lower than the year prior and the lowest in the past years that I'm reporting on in this document. As well, we saw a significant decrease in the number of WorkSafe BC claims. So that's wonderful. That means we had less injuries at work that resulted in employees needing medical attention. So that's a great improvement. Another statistic that is not captured in this report, but that is very important, is the decrease in what we are called lost days from injuries. So that's the number of days that an employee misses from their job as a result of a workplace injury. The city has done a lot of work over the last year in offering, it's called modified work, to employees who have had injuries, and we've seen great success in allowing employees to stay at work, do meaningful work, and this often results in better return to work outcomes. Turn into the RCMP, work in the fourth quarter included the final work on the equipment renovation room. And this room is now ready for the body-worn cameras, which we expect soon. At the detachment, they've had a committee formed that involves RCMP members as well as city support staff to work on ensuring that they're ready when the body-worn cameras are implemented, and as well continued work on a document called the Detachment Building Security Assessment. So that's a document that was put together by the RCMP last year. It contains a number of items that have been identified as needs for the building related to security. We continue to work with the RCMP to review this list and prioritize it, and will be coming, if required, to council with further information if there's any potential budget implications. Priorities for Q1 of 2026, we are in high gear to get work with departments to ensure that they have seasonal staffing in place. As I had mentioned, a number of recruitments continue. At the RCMP, the priorities continue to be the building assessment, risk assessment findings, as well as the implementation of body-worn cameras. So that is scheduled currently for March of 2026. And I'm happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thanks very much. Are there any questions?
Okay.
Oh, Councillor Mealy.
I do have one. Thank you very much through you to Manager Human Resources. I just note on under Human Resources key Q4 activities, it says annual performance reviews for exempt staff were completed. So that's an annual performance review, so it happens every year. Is it yourself in Human Resources, or is it a team that does that? How can we just maybe a little basic explanation for the
Yeah,
public?
so every employee's manager or supervisor is responsible for that process, and we've got quite a defined process that they follow, forms that are filled out. It's a great feedback tool and a really important part of performance management. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Corporate Services next.
Thank you, Chair Dane. In the fourth quarter of 2025, the Corporate Services Department continued to deliver essential legislative, administrative, and communications support. A significant portion of our efforts were dedicated to facilitating the financial plan process and establishing the 2026 schedules for council meetings, committee activities, and appointments. A highlight of this quarter was the successful hosting of the third annual Connect with Your City open house at Echo Centre, showcasing our commitment to community engagement and transparency regarding departmental functions. Throughout Q4, we facilitated 6 regular meetings of council, 2 committee of the whole meetings, several other committee meetings, along with 3 public hearings. This effort resulted in the recording of 122 directives in the summary of regular meeting council resolutions. Additionally, council adopted 7 bylaws, 2 new administrative policies were established, and the updating of 1 other, and 11 agreements were executed. In terms of communications, we achieved a substantial level of engagement through various campaigns, including our usual biweekly print advertisements in the Alberni Valley News and contributions to the Valley Vibe magazine. Our social media platforms have experienced increased visibility, with Facebook reaching 456,000 organic views and significant interaction boosts on Instagram. Community engagement remains at the forefront of our initiatives, exemplified by the Connect with Your City event, where we employed multiple outreach channels to ensure broad participation. Looking ahead to Q1 2026, our priorities will include the development of the revised council procedure bylaw and preparations for the upcoming general local elections scheduled for October 2026. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have before turning it over to Mary Claire, who will report on community safety and social development.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the corporate officer? All right, seeing none, now a nuisance abatement working group quarterly report.
Actually, what I'll do is I'll finish off on the corporate services report for the Department of Community Safety and Social
Of
Development.
course, my apologies.
Thank you. So with our quarterly report, I'll start off with bylaw. Bylaw has had an increased activity level in Q4 of 2025, 272 complaints, consisting of a variety of different calls. Some of the highlights were managing unlawfully stored vehicles, including trailers and recreational vehicles, and managing 81 calls for encampments in that quarter. We have launched a collections process, a debt collections process, which has commenced at the end of December into January and throughout. Those will be for fines that are unpaid from 2024, excuse me, and through 2025, totaling approximately $138,000. Moving on to community policing, we have 18 regular volunteers to do, they're primarily focusing on crime prevention, speed watch, and distracted driving. Of those, they contributed many hours. Crime Watch, almost 300. The stolen auto recovery, 25 hours. Speed Watch is 47, and distracted driving is 112. There were 14 warning letters sent out from the RCMP for distracted driving and 3 warning letters for Speed Watch. On to social development. Our key activities within social development are really about convening and collaborating with people and engaging with our community partners. We facilitated the Continuum of Care Coalition meeting, which is comprised of about 20 different partners throughout the community. Our weekly situation tables for people at acute level of risk. And we had 15 throughout last year, and 8 people took up the offer of service. We participated in the community action team, and we finalized the Bar Watch program with the RCMP. So you will be seeing a logo throughout the community in a number of liquor primary establishment Bar Watch, and that there's rules for Bar Watch, and so that was a collaboration that we did with the RCMP. And we promoted and launched the neighborhood mitigation strategy, which we've applied for funding for. We're hoping to receive that funding if we're successful in March to hear about it. We finalized the encampment management administration policy, and our budget is for our department. For bylaw services, the enforcement vehicles, and the public safety building, our overall budget is $589,000. 395 of that gets transferred to property taxes because of fees that are associated to nuisance properties and other taxation. So our actual expenditures were $576,000. And the community policing budget was $169,000 and about $82,000 in expenditures. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, and sorry for jumping the gun on you earlier there.
No problem.
Are there any questions for the manager? Councillor Mealy.
Thank you very much through you, Mr. Mayor. To our Director of Community Safety and Social Development, I hope I get that right. I just noticed just on the bylaws in the first page there, you have Q4 2024, Q4 2025 as a comparison. You have total 2025, just numbers of complaint calls received at 968. Would you know offhand how many, is that up or down from 2024?
Oh,
Would you have that number there? Sorry.
I don't have the number right in front of me, but all our numbers are significantly higher. Just in comparison between Q4 2024 was 150, 272. So I don't have the total from 2024, but it's significantly busier. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. And now on to the Nuisance Abatement Working Group quarterly report. Yes, thank you. You're right. You're correct. Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Solda. No discussion. All in favor? None opposed. Motion carried. All right. Thanks.
So I'm here to present the Nuisance Abatement Working Group Quarterly Report from October till December. The purpose of this working group is to address properties that pose health, safety, or neighborhood impacts through proportionate and appropriate regulatory tools. This aligns with Council's strategic direction, and the role of our nuisance abatement working group is we're a multi-agency table that addresses properties presenting sustained property-based compliance issues that require a coordinated intervention beyond routine enforcement. Participants include city departments, the RCMP, Island Health, and relevant provincial partners. We bring in partners as needed depending on the actual property. In Q4, we had one property that we were working with, and that property is the, excuse me just for a second. That property is located at 3044 4th Avenue. We realize that it is no longer for this quarter, but for last quarter, we had a number of different remedial actions that we were actively pursuing with that property. 38,000 in outstanding fines. There's 2 additional properties that we're actively monitoring, but they haven't reached the point where we've had to raise them to go to remedial action at this point, because we're dealing with them through our regulatory enforcement. One of the highlights of this working group was creating a criteria that's really quite transparent about how we assess the various properties and determine the level at which they would raise the bar, for example. And so on Annex A, the rating criteria for the nuisance abatement properties, it's very, very clear when we populate this automated table how we are actually objectively looking at each property. So it is quantifiable, it's not a hearsay, and it is addressed very objectively. So we really take a strategic approach when we're talking as a working group beyond our regular tools that we have for enforcement. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions on that report.
Are there any questions from council? Councillor Solda.
And thank you for the report. So I know some properties, I'm just going to ask you some questions if you can answer them. I'm not sure if you can at this moment in time, but regarding 3rd Avenue by the Bread of Life, there's 2 buildings, one across the street as well as right next to the Bread of Life or Salvation Army. If that is being looked into, it's getting worse and worse. And of course, across the street, there's broken windows and it's plastic. It's been plastic for a while on the windows and it's all falling apart there. And then of course, the other property I'm looking at is, not on Lower 3rd, graffiti on buildings. So do we wait for an owner to come and say, hey, I got graffiti all over my building? Because we do have a paint replacement program going on, which you could probably explain to the public. There's graffiti when I was driving up on the big wall of their building, and I'm just kind of curious, do we look into that or do we wait for an owner? So and there's lots of other buildings that I could name, but those are the immediate ones that come to mind right now. So I would like to know where are we going and are we moving forward? I believe they're on our list, but I'm not 100% sure. Thank you.
Thank you for the question and through the chair. I won't speak about specific addresses because at this point they're not properties that we have that have risen up to the remedial actions stage. We are actively dealing with a number of different properties, including perhaps the ones that you have cited, with enforcement tools and through bylaw and working with our property maintenance, property standards, bylaws, and we're quite active on that behind the scenes. And so when we come together as a working group, what we look at is the threshold, has it gotten beyond that level? And so this is our Q4 report from last year. As you know, it can change from one quarter to the next. And so a property may be being monitored, but not publicly on the remedial action list. And so in our Q1 for 2026, depending on the level of activity that we have in our meetings, because we meet monthly, the properties may change status from actively monitoring to being an active file on remedial action. So I know that's a bit of a vague answer, but I'm not going to cite a specific property address of the enforcement that we're taking. With regard to graffiti, yes, we certainly do have a graffiti paint program, and we will actively go to properties and write to them to say, you've got graffiti, you need to remove that graffiti from your property. If you so choose, you can access our graffiti paint program, which we would reimburse them for the cost of the paint. Secondary to that, when the weather gets a bit better, the clean team is actually part of their role as the weather gets better is to work with property owners to remove graffiti. So we've been waiting through these winter months to get, because it needs to be dry enough to be able to paint over the graffiti.
And fair enough, I figured you couldn't really speak about some of the properties. And also, I just have another question regarding if it's known a building has a no occupancy, it's all boarded up and everything like that, and there's known people to be going in the building and either they're sleeping or whatever they're doing in there. Who should they contact bylaw if it's known, or RCMP because it is illegal to go in when it's no occupancy? So I'm just kind of curious on that too, because I've had that told to me, so.
Again, through the chair, thank you for the question. Both. The answer is both. And we get complaints both ways. We get complaints that have gone through the RCMP and then passed along to bylaw and vice versa. And so anytime there's an abandoned building that's being occupied, it needs to be reported.
Okay, thank you, and that's the end of my questions, but I'll be re-asking all those, revisiting those other questions prior in another day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Mealy.
Thank you very much. Just a clarification question. So 3044 4th Avenue, that's the building just down here that just burnt down, correct? Just for the people on YouTube and people who are watching this over on computer.
Yes, thank you. And through the chair, yes, it is. That's the property on 3rd Avenue that had the fire in January.
Councillor Solda.
Sorry, excuse me, on 4th Avenue, excuse me.
Just because I'm following up on Charles, Councillor Mealy's question, 4th Avenue. And again, I already know the answer, but because the public is sitting here, we have a burned out building back there and businesses are around it. We'll have to suffer through that before, because there's a few things like insurances and different things that have to play. So maybe we can explain the process now, because it's not going to be taken away tomorrow, which really is crappy, but maybe we could explain the process and how long it's going to take before that happens.
Through the chair, I'll start off answering, and then I'll pass it over to our CAO to explain. It's under a do not occupy, because it's under the fire marshal's office for investigation right now, or the fire commissioner's office. And so all of the fenced in area, you will see activity there. The last couple of weeks, we've seen various backhoes and officials looking at those are from the Office of the Fire Commissioner. I'll turn it over to our CAO to add.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for the question. Through the chair, any fire that while it's being investigated, the site will be secure. And it'll be secure until insurance claims, everything has been released before the site is cleaned up. And really a municipality doesn't dictate those timelines. So they can take some time. And again, we just have to wait for the processes to unfold to make sure they're thoroughly investigated and cleaned up properly, and all the costs go to the appropriate place.
Thank you for that. It's just really, I'm sorry to the businesses that have to see that visually all the time and the people there. I know it's a process, but it's a long process and it's very frustrating. So I apologize for that. It's nothing we can do on our end at the moment, but I'll be on it.
Thanks. Are there any other questions? I have one question, actually. So I know that there are a number of factors that go into how when you apply a status to a nuisance property, and I know that one of them is the amount of complaints that the property receives, and we hear a lot of discussion in the community about like sort of report fatigue. I know the RCMP has been speaking publicly lately about the need to collect that data in order to act on it. And I was just wondering if you could comment on the importance of legitimate, and I should reiterate, legitimate complaints coming in regarding properties in order to allow you to act on it.
Thank you. Through the chair again, that's an excellent question. We encourage people to even call and ask a question. Our bylaw clerk is extremely informative, extremely helpful, and we document all of those complaints. So whether it's through the online portal, whether it's through a telephone call or a visit, it's better than having it come as sort of hearsay. So having things documented, and then you'll notice that in our criteria, our top criteria, or the first criteria, maybe not the top, is the number of complaints against that particular property. And so we have a rating scale of 0 to 3. The more complaints, it would be a 3. And so all of those things add up into our decision-making tool that we can then look at a specific property from a lens of where are the areas of compliance and the problematic areas. So the answer is yes, please do.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good reminder that we often hear people say that they call and they don't feel like anything's done, but sometimes it takes time to collect that data, and so that one call, even though it didn't feel important, was a key piece of information towards an action that can eventually be taken. So just a good reminder to keep calling in when there are those complaints. Okay, any other? No, go ahead, Councillor Solder.
So I feel like I'm piggybacking a lot, so to piggyback here on Councillor Dame here. So when on the stats there, emergency vehicle call-outs, ambulance, police, fire department, do you get all the stats from each department, and that would be added to the complaint if they're, since you're talking about complaint driven and to a, yes.
Through the chair, just to clarify that, the emergency response are non-medical calls, and we get the calls from the RCMP and fire. We don't get the calls volume for this particular working group from BC EHS, but fire would be able to assist us with those numbers, and so that's how we look at that quantity under that criteria.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments? Thanks very much. Can I get thank you.
Move that council receive the report nuisance abatement working group quarterly report for the period October 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 as information.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Solda. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Moving on now to the audit committee minutes. Would somebody like to make that motion or offer any comments?
Sorry, I move the council approve the November 25th, 2025 audit committee minutes, if I can say it.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Solda. Are there any comments? Councillor Mealy.
No, just more, this is the change now that we've had. We used to have the audit committee. Now it's going to be coming to council meetings. So I must commend staff on the fact that we're going to have these minutes here and able to be on the agenda as well for future meetings so people can see what the audit committee or the audit is and the minutes through it and all the reporting done by finance.
Councillor Solda.
So maybe staff could explain, so in the past at the audit committee, people could come up and ask questions. So now, moving forward, what is going to happen? How is that picture going to look? And also, the questions, say if they went through the portal and through email and sent an email, will that be out for public online? Will they be able to find their questions and answers there? How, just give me a synopsis of, for the public, how that would work on the, if they have questions.
Through the chair. So nothing really will change as far as the opportunities for people in person, just like at the audit committee. The public can come up and ask questions at the committee of the whole. So that will not change. And those questions would be recorded and then followed up if required.
Just a So my follow-up question would be, so at the audit committee, at the committee of the whole, and the audit is being presented, would they have to wait till the very end of the whole meeting, like question and answer, and which is important to note because sometimes you have the question right there and the answer could be at the same time. So I'm just kind of curious on that. And there was another question, but it's off the top of my head.
Through the chair, currently that's the practice at the audit committee is we would wait till the end of the meeting and then you'd have the opportunity to address any questions that you have in that agenda.
And one final, sorry, it just popped back in my head. It's like opening a fridge knowing what you want out of it. But anyways, okay, so if somebody's has a question like at home and they're watching online, they can still ask questions from online or write in?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, correct. We always have the option to join the meetings. We do have hybrid meetings, so they're able to register through the city's website and communicate to us live on the meeting.
Great. We've already, we moved that, right? We already made the motion? Okay, perfect. Are there any other comments? All right, moving on then. We now, oh, we haven't voted on it. Sorry, got sidetracked there. Okay, everybody's clear on the motion? No other comments? All in favor? None opposed? Motion carries. Thanks. Okay, moving on to bylaws, a municipal office building purchase loan authorization. Go ahead, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair Dame. So today, in front of council, we are considering the 3 readings for the loan authorization bylaw of the municipal building located across the street. This is 3 readings and then the financial plan amendment for that transaction. This would be a 20-year long loan with MFABC. So what we have to do is take the loan authorization bylaw at 3 readings, send it to the inspector for review, and then along with some other documentation for the liability limit and what is required to get that approval before it is adopted. That could take some time, and the report outlines the time frame that this could take. So it does take a little bit of time to undertake a loan through the MFABC, and then what we could do if it is not the opportunity time to have the loan issued in spring or fall is do short-term borrowing on the loan. So that would come to council for a loan anticipation bylaw, so we would undertake that so that we could borrow to meet the timeframes for the loan and the purchase of the building. Within the financial plan, in the implications, it is noted that in 2027, this will be an increase of 0.33% to the financial plan, and then in 2030, it would be 0.29. This includes the current policy that provides for the asset management contribution to the reserve for our buildings. So a portion of this building is currently leased out, and that will continue. With that, those lease revenues, 50% of that goes into a reserve for improvements or renewal of the building. That is the policy, but we can review that to see if that's the required amount moving forward as we have a better understanding of the upcoming needs of the building. So we do have that included in the detail for the financial plan. And then we are avoiding the lease costs that we currently are incurring at the building. And there will be, of course, the interest and debt on the loan over the 20 years. And that totals $285,000 per year. But the net difference is about $125,000, but $100,000 of that essentially goes into the asset management reserve. Keeping in mind that the rates that we use with MFABC are often conservative, and that means that we would take a rate that is higher than currently is being offered. And then that interest would be firmed up once that debt is issued as long-term, and that would be in the spring or fall of the 2027 year. So with that, if council has any questions about the report and the loan authorization bylaw, administration is here to answer.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the director? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Maley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ray. I appreciate that through to you, staff. So just a couple questions for the public, of course. There was a report on the radio this morning talking about assessed value and the appraised value. Can I get an explanation, maybe from Mr. Fox or from Finance, the difference between the assessed value and the appraised value and why the sale price is what it is?
Sure, thank you, and through the chair. I'm sure when people are buying a house, they go in and they look at the furnace, the piping, the electrical. That's not always considered when it's assessed by BC Assessment. The building is assessed and you pay taxes based on that assessment. When somebody renovates a place, it increases the value of market value. This building, when sold years ago, had a lot of hazardous conditions, which have been remediated to date. Also, a lot of upgrades have happened to the building, which then puts out our asset management that the Director of Finance was talking about. The reason why we can review the asset management contributions to the building is because a lot of it has been upgraded, which then will push out those asset contributions to that asset. So just like public members, councillors, everybody, when buying something, the true value of something isn't always the assessed value. It could be the fair market value. There's lots of ways of coming to that. So administration reviewed this and brought a report to council, and council agreed that the negotiated price was of good value for the city, where many municipalities, I know if you go on ChatGPT, everybody likes that AI component these years, and if you type it in for a population of 20,000 in BC, what is a new municipal hall cost at this date, it will come up with 20 million plus. So, you know, it is a good financial investment for the city, especially moving forward, and also with long-term tenants in it.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the answer, and that was just kind of a conversation had with me a couple times today before the meeting. But I agree, we have a building across the street. We've been talking about this building forever in upgrades and replacement, buying property, finding a new home, perhaps. There is the option over across the street to have a building that is still in really good shape, that can house not only our staff, but it can have tenants downstairs to help pay the rent, and options as well to have other tenants come in as well, use as business or office space as well. So appreciate that answer. I'm glad that we had the conversation out here, just kind of where we're at with the price, and I think the why. I mean, we could talk a little bit maybe about what staff is upstairs and that, but I mean, for the most part, it's either this building or, and I said that this morning, a $20 million hall or new city hall. I think that's even a conservative number. It's going to be, I think after talking to other staff people here and other people, it could be more than that. Just so cost-effective solution is across the street. And we have tenants in there to help pay the rent. So why would we want to pay the rent when we could be the owner and receive the rent? Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Solden.
It's not questions. Well, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. Did we get an appraisal done beforehand, or we went off the assessment? Just the assessment was low, though. And the upgrades, we didn't. I know we didn't do the upgrade. Any upgrading. It was it's the owner that's there now. Is that correct? I'm just answering some questions for some people here.
Thanks, Councillor Solda. And through the chair, yes, we did use an appraisal that was conducted, and it also included a lot of upgrades in the building. So again, administration, when we look at an asset, we look at the asset components, where they sit in their useful life, how the building was constructed, and what benefit it will have for the residents in how many years. And this, we're talking 30 to 50 years into the future we're looking. We aren't looking at just tomorrow. So when we looked at this building and the current needs of our city as we grow and as government becomes more complex, there is downloading. I know you hear a lot of that from provincial and federal government and other agencies. So we have to make sure that we have space to grow. If we weren't doing that, we wouldn't be doing our job as administration. So yes, I guess is the short answer to that.
I know a lot of people out in the community have spoken about, well, it wasn't good enough for the post office. Why is it good enough now, right? And it's because of all the upgrades that have happened. I worked in the post office back then, and also for Service Canada back then. It was pretty dungy in there, and I don't know if you want to make any comment towards that. When the post office, I was on council when the post office decided to move, and it was really a loud thing about post office leaving. And of course, asbestos was the biggest reason too. But I think it's also the post office wanted to get into a smaller space in the long run and more modern. Thank you.
Yeah, as stated previously, the hazardous assessment, a lot of the reason why when it sold it was cheap is because it had to be remediated. Again, the previous owner has remediated that to make it occupiable and have a good workspace. If you go into the building right now, it's used for a variety of activities. And I believe everybody seems happy and everybody is moving along. When you talk about different businesses and the perception that one may have if it's an adequate office space, it depends on what business you're conducting. You know, if City Council and the public wanted us to build a really big new city hall with multi-floors on it, administration would have been agreeable to that as well. So, you know, again, when we're looking at this, do we want to lease space for a continue getting larger municipality, or do we want to purchase a space and think about the future? So when we thought about that, we brought this offer forward to council for consideration, but council could have chosen another avenue, and instead we decided to think long-term with existing buildings.
Thank you. Councillor Mealy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And I'm not speaking on behalf of council in any way, but my vision would be we have a neighbor in ACRD next door and always looking for space as well. And this is another cost-effective way that they can have a little bit of space if they come and partner with us. So again, not speaking on behalf of council, but just throwing it out there.
I have suggested that already.
Thank you. Councils, would anybody like to move first reading? Yeah, go ahead.
I'd love to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that municipal office building purchase loan authorization bylaw number 5142, 2026 be now introduced and read a first time.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that municipal office building purchase loan authorization bylaw number 5142, 2026 be read a second time.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move that the municipal office building purchase loan authorization bylaw number 5142, 2026 be read a third time.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move that council amend the City of Port Alberni 2026-2030 financial plan bylaw number 5138 as follows. A, in 2026, add new revenue account, planning and engineering building, add $94,710. B, in 2026, line 21254, planning and engineering building, 94,710. Sorry, I'm just looking, it's the same, seems the same thing, but C, in 2027, planning and engineering building revenue, add 199,070. D, in 2027, line 21254, planning and engineering building, add 324,714. E, in 2028, planning and engineering building revenue, add 2,177. F, in 2028, line 21254, planning and engineering building, add 326,268. G, in 2029, planning and engineering building revenue, add 202,177. And H, in 2029, line 21254, planning and engineering building, add 326,268. I, in 2030, planning and engineering building revenue, add 202,177. J, in 2030, line 21254, planning and engineering building, add $326,268.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Moving on to the 2026 to 2030 financial plan, third reading. Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair Dame. So today we are requesting third reading of the financial plan as reviewed at our last committee of the whole last week on January 19th. Recommendation is coming forward from the committee for third reading today.
Thank you very much. Would somebody like to make that motion? Councillor Mealy, you don't need a break. You're
Why
good.
not? Let's go, yeah. Okay. I move that the City of Port Alberni 2026-2030 financial plan bylaw number 5138 be read a third time.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Discussion, Councillor Solda.
So maybe our Director of Finance can just state what the taxes are, since they're not up on the board here, just so, like, it's 6.82, if we can just go through that. I know I just did, but 26 to 20, yeah, to 2030 would be really good, or unless it's put up on the board, just so the public can see.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair Dame, through to Councillor Solda. So the current rate as reviewed is 6.82%, and that's as it stands at third reading.
Great. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none on the motion, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Moving on to proclamations. Would somebody like to make the first motion on the Alberni Valley Chapter Canadian Council of the Blind? Councillor Patola.
Thank you, Chair Dame. I move that Council, on behalf of Alberni Valley Chapter Canadian Council of the Blind, proclaim the week of February 2nd to 7th, 2026 as White Cane Week in Port Alberni.
Moved by Councillor Patola, seconded by Councillor Solda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Next we have Kinsman Club of Port Alberni, Councillor Solda.
I'll move that the council, on behalf of the Kinsman Club of Port Alberni, proclaim February 27th, 2026 as Kinsman and Kinnett Week in Port Alberni.
Moved by Councillor Solda, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. And then next is Heritage BC. Go ahead, Councillor Mealy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council, on behalf of Heritage BC, proclaim the week of February 16th to 22nd, 2026 as Heritage Week in Port Alberni.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. I'll now go to the corporate officer for the correspondence for information summary.
Thank you, Chair Dayton. We have a letter from the District of Highlands regarding Bill M216, Professional Reliance Act. We have various ministry letters in follow-up to the 2025 UBCM convention meeting. We have third call for resolutions from AVICC for the 2026 convention, an update from the Ministry of Health regarding the decriminalization pilot program ending, the October 15th Traffic Advisory Committee minutes, and the December 3rd Alberni Valley Heritage Commission minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, is there anyone who would like to highlight a piece of correspondence? Go ahead, Councillor Solda.
I would like to bring up the AVICC. There is a call out for elected officials to have students and attend the conference, and I'd like to forward a letter to North Island College, ADSS, and any other eligible students in the community. To it.
So that was a motion then?
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
moved by Councillor Solda, seconded by Councillor Mealy. Any discussion on that? We all clear on the motion? All in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Was there any other pieces of correspondence that anyone on council wanted to highlight? Seeing none, we will move on to a report from in camera. Corporate officer.
Thank you, Chair Dame. Council released for public consumption direction to authorize $10,000 from the Reconciliation Fund towards a museum summer student employment position. Council released for public consumption support for an application to the Agricultural Land Reserve to remove land at 5355 Cherry Creek Road, given the application is prepared by Community Futures and approved by the city. And lastly, council released for public consumption execution of a contract and of purchase and sale between the City of Port Alberni and Liberock Holdings Incorporated for 4835 Argyle Street in the amount of $3,400,000. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to council reports. Is there any member of council who would like to share a report? Councillor Haggard.
I am wearing their very coveted coldest night of the year toque, and Councillor Mealy has one as well, so I just want to speak to it for a moment. The Coldest Night of the Year Walk is a fundraiser for Sage Haven Society. It is going to be held on February 28, 2026. You meet at the Royal Canadian Legion on Victoria Quay. You meet at 4 o'clock for check-in. Opening remarks are at 4:45, and you start your walk at 5 o'clock. And there's two different walks you can take. There is a shorter walk and there is a longer walk. So you can choose which one you want to take. Or if you don't want to walk, just come out and enjoy the festivities of the evening. A light meal will be served after the walk. I want to invite our fellow councillors and city staff to join our team. I haven't registered team online yet, but I will. Councillor Dame and his lovely family always attend. And our current CEO always attends, so I'm inviting our new CEO to attend as well. There's always lots of fun, Andrew. You'll enjoy it. And of course, I want to encourage everyone here to attend, and in the public, it is a great support to Sage Haven Society. It helps them to provide the programs that they offer to the community. Councillor Mealy will be the MC of the evening, and I will be giving remarks on behalf of the city, and we'll both be, Councillor Dame, our Councillor Mealy has to go, but I will be walking in it as well. So encourage everyone to come and enjoy and get a coveted toque. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's always a great time, a great cause, and yeah, lots of fun, and always some good food at the end. Councillor Solda.
Thank you. I'd like to bring up, on January 21st, I had a meeting at the Chamber of Commerce, and the RCMP were there, and there was 3 members, which includes the officer in charge, Inspector Kim Bruce. And there was a lot of talk about, I just want to bring it up because it's not really in my report. And we know there's a lot of smash and grabs and windows broken for businesses and that, and even local residents that you have had some issues, and which are really, really important. And when you and I've read on social media that, hey, why bother calling the RCMP? They don't do anything. Or the other comment is they get released right away. They can pick somebody up and they're released. Well, according to the inspector, she has said, you need to report the crime. because the stats happen, and if it's one business that keeps getting the break-in and it becomes chronic, then they can track that, and it's probably one person doing all this, right? And the more you make the call, it's better for them. They will not get as released. But if that person has only got one call on him, we'll release him on because it's only one crime, right? But if it's 10, buildings he's broken into and it becomes chronic, they have a record. And of course, when he goes in front of the courts, and I see shaking of the head in the audiences and that, but you know what? I'm just told, doing what I have heard from the RCMP. So you need to make that call. They say they don't come right away because they might be at other more important things, but eventually they'll get to you. If businesses have cameras, they would like the cameras. Get all the evidence together that you have, so when they're there, you can just hand it off to them. But make that call. I mean, it's frustrating. I've been in business. It's frustrating because they don't come right away. We want that service right now, and I understand that. But there's other important issues. There might be an accident, somebody might be dying, something, whatever it is, but make the call. I'm just putting it out there because I know that a lot of people here that I see and probably watching were not at that meeting. And I think it's really important to make that call. I know it's frustrating. I get frustrated, but make the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none. Would somebody like to, that's what I'm looking for. Moved by Councillor Mealy. Motion, do I have a seconder? Second by Councillor Bertola. No discussion, all in favor, none opposed, motion carried. Moving on to new business. First up, we have the Community Investment Program 2026 recommendations. Just for the public to note that this is a recommendation from the January 9th COW meeting where there was quite a bit of discussion on this. So would somebody like to start by making that motion? Councillor Solda.
I'll move that council approve the 2026 Community Investment Program Committee recommendations as outlined in the staff report dated January 12, 2026, and further directs administration to return an updated terms of reference.
Moved by Councillor Solda, seconded by Councillor Mealy. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. On the motion, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. And now moving on to temporary use permit for 3868 Wood Avenue. Oh, that's at the back there. I'm like looking around. Who is it? Is it the manager of planning? Yeah, sorry about that. That was my fault. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and Council. For consideration today is a temporary use permit at 3868 Wood Avenue. And the owners have applied for this temporary use permit for a period of 3 years. The permit would authorize up to 7 recreational vehicles to be used as permanent dwellings in a campground style arrangement. And you can see it on the screen right now in the photo that's being displayed. With this permit, council is being asked to consider the use of the land and if this use is appropriate for the property. Administration is recommending that the temporary use permit not be issued. The permit does not meet council policy in the OCP for temporary uses and does not align with the OCP land use and zoning bylaw. RVs are also not designed for permanent habitation, and long-term use creates health and safety risks, including potential failure of water and septic systems. The fire department has also identified significant fire safety risks, such as electrical hazards and inadequate fire separation. In 2013, council issued a temporary use permit to the property to authorize use of RVs in this way. And in 2015, council renewed that permit, and then it expired in 2018. However, the RVs did remain on site and they were occupied. In 2024, the Community Safety Department issued a letter of compliance to the owner, and they applied for another temporary use permit. Under the Local Government Act, the owner can apply for another permit, and staff sought legal advice prior to reviewing the application. If council does not approve the permit, The owner will be required to comply with the zoning and remove the RVs from the property, and the tenants would need to find new housing. If council approves the permit, the owner should obtain a business license with the required fire safety inspections and submit for review an approved fire safety plan, an electrical assessment, and a site servicing plan for staff to review. Council can choose to not issue the temporary use permit, or council can approve the permit with conditions. Administration, again, recommends that council not issue the permit, but pass a motion to not enforce the zoning bylaw until July 1st so that the tenants can find new housing. And I'll be happy to provide more information if council wishes. Thank you.
Councillor Patola.
Thank you, Chair Dame. The issue is a moot one in that this temporary use has already been applied for and already been permitted. I'm reading from the legislation, Local Government Act, Section 497, Sub 2. A person to whom a temporary use permit has been issued may apply to have the permit renewed, subject to the restriction that a temporary use permit may be renewed only once. That is the legislation that enables this council to exist. It's senior legislation from the provincial government. And reading that, we simply do not have the authority to even to issue or renew this temporary use permit. If I take the point from the manager that the individual has an ability to apply, and presumably if the temporary use permit was for a different use, like for example, if they wanted to put in an amusement park, that would be a different use and we would be into a different process. But when the use applied for is the same as that has already been granted once and renewed once, we are without authority, in my opinion.
Thank you. Could we get a comment on that from staff, clarification, if that is the case in regards of another renewal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not to get too specific into the legislation, as I don't have the LGA in front of me, but the results from our discussions with the lawyer was that the applicant could make an application for another temporary use permit, even for the same use, which they had a permit issued for prior, and that council was only obligated to consider but did not have to approve that permit.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mealy.
Thank you. Just some clarification, because that was kind of part of my thinking as well, is everything I've been taught is it's a 3-year temporary use permit can be renewed up to 3 years. So what I'm guessing through you to our planner, Mr. Planner, is that this is essentially a new application, not a renewal. And that's the reason why it's legal. And again, I share the concerns with Councillor Patola. Through the chair, that's correct, Councillor. So what we learned from the lawyer is that this is considered a new application, even though it's a request to do the same thing on the property.
Understood. Councillor Patola, and then I will give an opportunity for members of the public to speak to this. So go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Dame. I would move that this matter be adjourned for at least a month or until we receive a written legal opinion that states exactly that. I don't see a written legal opinion anywhere in these materials, and I have to respectfully disagree with what we were told by the lawyers, because that is not what the legislation says, and the legislation is clear. May be renewed only once.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Patola, seconded by Councillor Solda. Discussion. Councillor Mealy.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see no problem in this, just a mere fact, let's get it right the first time. Again, that was my concern, is everything I've been taught up to this point is a 3-year and a renewal for 3-year, and I can understand the verbiage used here, but I would like some clarification before we move forward, so I can agree with Councillor Patola at this time.
Okay. Any other comments on this? Yeah, corporate officer.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to note that a motion to adjourn is not debatable. So we do require a seconder, but then it must be voted upon.
Thank you. Yeah, my apologies. I did not know that. Okay, so we will vote on the motion then. Go ahead, Director of Planning.
And I may ask for a bit of advice from the corporate officer on this too. if we adjourn and don't specify a date for it to come back, I think we will need to give public notice again. So just for council's understanding that we would be doing that again, unless I think if a specific date is offered, then we wouldn't need to necessarily reissue public notice.
Okay, so I believe I heard you say in 1 month, but we might need to add
Yes,
a-
in 1 month. So if the corporate officer could provide the date specific of 1 month, the meeting that would be next closest to 1 month.
Thank you. And so the other option we have here is to postpone to a specific date, and that would then justify not having to reissue public notice. So if you would like to pick a specific meeting date, that would serve.
Sure, okay. So I heard you say February 23rd, is that?
I heard that too.
All right, so everybody's clear on the motion. February 23rd is the date. All right. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed, motion carried. Councillor Mealy.
Sorry, and just, of course, because we've been dealing with this in other, just the fact that bylaw will not be taking any action until then, is that something we need to make a motion for, or is that kind of written as kind of procedure right now?
I'm seeing some shaking of heads that no bylaw will not take action in the meantime. So it seems like I don't think we need a motion for that. So, yeah. Okay, so that matter is postponed then for 1 month. Okay. So we will then move on to the next temporary use permit for 3723 Redford Street.
Thank you, Chair and Council. The owners of 3723 Redford Street have applied for a temporary use permit for 3 years. They are the owners of the Redford Motel. And the permit would authorize up to 12 recreational vehicles to be used as permanent dwellings in a campground style arrangement. This is, I'm just looking at the screen. This is actually the Redford Motel. Just wait one moment.
And we're good to go.
Okay, thank you, Chair and Council. So this is similar in location to the previous permit. It is actually sort of adjacent on an adjacent property, though these are separate owners and this is a separate application. Unlike the previous application, no prior TUP has been issued by council for this property, and administration is recommending that the temporary use permit not be issued. The permit does not meet council policy in the OCP for temporary uses and does not align with the OCP land use or zoning bylaw. RVs are not designed for like long-term and permanent habitation, and this use creates health and safety risks, including substantial risk of fire and electrical hazard. If council does not approve the permit, the owner will be required to comply with the zoning and remove the RVs from the property, and the tenants would need to find new housing. If council approves the permit, the owner should obtain a business license with the required fire safety inspections and submit for review a fire safety plan, electrical assessment, and site servicing plan for review by staff. Council can choose to not issue the temporary use permit, or council can approve the permit with conditions. But again, administration recommends that council not issue this permit and that council pass a motion to not enforce the zoning bylaw until July 1st so that the current tenants can find new housing. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now offer opportunity for members of the public to speak to this application. Was there anybody who wanted to speak to it? Yeah, come on up. And you'll just push the button there to turn the microphone on. Just got to push the button, and then the red light comes on. It's confusing. It's okay. There you
Thanks.
go.
Okay. My name is Herb Lumba. I'm from Redford Motel. We have that RV spot, so people staying there since 1985. Used to have a 20 spot, but I'm right now applying for the 12 spot. All these people are retiree people, and most of them moved in since we have COVID. A lot of people, retiree people, 3 of them ex-employee from city. They used to waterworks and city works. They all retired. 3 families are staying there in the RV. 2 nurses, 1 electrician, he's a retired. All these people are all retiree people. They are a nice community, but if you guys now improve me anything, they be on the road, they be out of home, that's their home. They're a small community. They live together. They have small garden in the back in the corner. They live together. We have no problem. They never disturb anyone over there. They, they're healthy. They like to stay there in the close because they can't afford to pay too much rent. How much we collect them, they're happy. It's up to the council to approve that. I really appreciate that. And if you guys approve me, I'll go abide the law, whatever they need a requirement, I'll follow that. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, would someone like to make a motion here for discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Patola.
Thank you, Chair Dame. I move that council not issue temporary use permit number 25-02 at 3723 Redford Street.
Moved by Councilor Patola, seconded by Councilor Solda. Discussion. Councilor Mealy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that. And so I'm personally having a tough time with this, merely because I have someone who's close to me that lost their home and they live in a trailer now, and it's their home. And I live down the street. I pass it every day, and I don't see it's not a nuisance property or anything like that. I understand the rules. I understand the legislation. I understand the zoning. I'm having a hard time saying that we're going to give these people 6 months to find a new place in which they are low income. The applicant has come today and talked about who lives there. But in this time where we're having problems with housing and homes, we're just going to follow up and kick these people out on the streets or find other accommodation that's maybe not financially viable for them. So again, I must reiterate, I understand the rules, I understand the zoning, and I understand why we're here today. I'm just having a problem not issuing or not finding another solution at this time for the temporary use permit because of what the problems that we face in this community with homelessness and housing. And then we have a solution that's been working, knowing full well in the future that it has to come to head, much like the temporary use permit for the Bread of Life. That's going to come up in 3 years, and there has to be a permanent solution. So I'm not sure that not issuing the temporary use permit at this time is the proper solution.
Any other comments? Councilor Patola.
Thank you. Temporary use permit is only for a temporary use that will come to an end within 3 years or within the extension time. That, again, removes authority from council to make a decision to eke out a small sliver of hope. Here, it is the law. We do not have authority to issue a temporary use permit when it is not a temporary use. You have to come within the wording of the legislation before the legislation can apply. As much as I would like to weigh in and act as God on many issues, this is not one that is within my authority. And to do so is contrary to many of the other laws that this council is supposed to uphold. It would be akin to waiving the building code for any residence. And therefore, we should, if we're going to do this, at the same time, council should be waiving residency requirements for every dilapidated garage, bang down shed in a backyard, or tent that somebody wants to put up on any property. These do not conform to the building code. They do not conform to safety standards. And that is the reason why RVs are not authorized as permanent dwellings. I don't think that we should be taking a position out of sympathy for the choices that some individuals have made to authorize inappropriate housing across the entire city. Now, I note that there is a lieu period incorporated into this motion, and I think that's fully appropriate. I also think that if the city was going to be more proactive about finding housing for certain types of buildings, whether they be temporary or not, that could certainly be done by zoning an appropriate place in an appropriate manner with appropriate hookups for that to happen. But simply going out on your own and saying, I'm going to do something that's not allowed and essentially is against the authorized legal use of a property only encourages the amount of lawlessness that happens in this community already. So the more people that are doing things contrary to the rules that we've agreed to live by, the more likely it is that people will just disregard the rules we live by. And I think not only of people living in trailers where they're not allowed, I think of people parking trucks on sidewalks. I think of people defecating in public. I think of all sorts of things that resemble social disorder. And I think it is incumbent upon this council to uphold public safety and not encourage that same public disorder.
Thank you, Councilor Petula. And just a reminder to everyone that whether you approve or disapprove of any comments made up here, we just ask that you not clap only so that everybody feels comfortable to share their views without worry that they're going to cause a reaction from the crowd. So thanks for that. Councilor Solda.
So maybe the applicant I suggest you tell the people, the residents in these trailers, that there are other options. Rainbow Garden has apartments that are for seniors, and they do it based on income. There's a few buildings, residents in our community that are in the same. It's based on income. So just get on the waiting list. There is time to do that for anybody. That's not just in this application, it's for anybody that's listening, that are seniors in that. I know Rainbow Gardens, it hasn't gone through council yet, has an application to build more senior residents. So it's out there, it's hard to find, yes, but get on a waiting list. You know, it's important. You can always say no if you do find a place prior, but put yourself on a waiting list. Thank you.
Councilor Mealy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate that. And I do agree with Councilor Patola, and that's why it's a hard decision. So I just wanted to state that I do agree with Councilor Patola, and I understand him very much. The only thing I will say is that it's not a choice for everyone. People do make a choice, but some people are thereby not by choice. It's their only avenue of having a roof over their head. I'm going to, I know it's not the motion now, but when the next motion comes, then I would just ask for an extended period of time to allow tenants to find alternate accommodation if the temporary use permit is not approved.
Any other comments? Councilor Verbrugge.
I think until some places like Rainbow Gardens advertise vacancies, until they have vacancies, like right now, it's a waiting period, it's really hard to police that. Are you actually applying for Rainbow Gardens or aren't you? But until there are vacancies, I don't think we should be moving people out of what they consider their temporary homes.
Councilor Solda.
Rainbow Gardens doesn't advertise vacancies, you have to apply. And most places don't advertise vacancies, you have to apply. So you need to do some legwork. I caution too, because we just put one on hold and we have another one. So we're looking at this one. So moving forward, do we keep going the way we are? And I remember the first applicant that we've just put on hold when he first came and the renewal. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that forward. And can I have the motion read out again? Because I thought the motion did have a 6-month grace. No, that's in the second half? Okay, got it. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. I think that I have some concerns about the potential for temporary use permits to be used in a way that is not their purpose and their intent. a temporary use permit should be either transitionary, as in, here's where we are moving towards, we just need some time to get there, or it should be some sort of temporary, broad community benefit with an end in sight. And if we're approving temporary use permits that don't have a clear end date and a clear plan in place for, whether it's a rezoning application or how compliance is going to be met, then I really don't feel that we're doing our due diligence in just allowing improper use. It becomes a safety issue, becomes a whole bunch of problems. So there, as Councillor Mealy mentioned, there is a second motion recommended, that is to give some time to the tenants, and I'll be supporting that when it comes along. And that is in effect the same as what we would be doing if we were to offer a temporary use permit. It's saying we're not going to enforce it for a limited amount of time so that people can be treated humanely and given time to find a new place. But I'll try to stay focused on the motion that is on the floor, veering here, which I support that motion, and I would not support a temporary use permit that would allow 3 years of continued use. That's something that's been going on for a long time, though I do certainly feel for the affected people in the situation. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, I will call to question. On the motion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. There is another motion recommended. Councillor Mealy, did you want to make that motion?
I have a different date in mind, so I wouldn't want to ambush council on that. So perhaps if someone would like to read the motion as mentioned, and then I will talk about an amendment to it.
Councillor Solda.
I'll move that council direct the Community Safety and Social Development Department to not enforce the zoning bylaw at 3723 Redford Street until July 1st, 2026, to allow tenants to find alternate accommodations. And I'll wait for a seconder. And
Moved by Councillor Solda, seconded by Councillor Mealy.
I also look at, there's campgrounds that will be opening up for summer, and you're able to move in those. So summer is a good time, and it's better than the winter. And I would not agree to it if we said tomorrow you have to be out. So.
Councillor Mealy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate the conversations today. So I would like to propose an amendment to this motion that we change July 1st, 2026 to July 1st, 2027. And if I have a seconder, I'll talk to that.
Is there a seconder? There is no seconder. Okay. So there's no amendment then. So the original motion is on the floor. Are there any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Moving on to another temporary use permit application for 2907 3rd Avenue. Go ahead, Development Planner.
Thank you, Chair and Council. For consideration is a temporary use permit at 2907 3rd Avenue. The Colson Group has applied for this TUP, and the permit would authorize industrial uses on the property for up to 3 years. The uses that they've applied for is a fire retardant chemical lab, an upholstery shop for aircraft interiors, and a warehouse for aircraft components. And these are the uses that are currently occurring on the property. With this permit, Council is being asked to consider the use of the land and whether this is an appropriate use for a commercial property in the downtown. Administration is recommending that the temporary use permit not be issued. The permit does not meet council policy in the OCP for temporary uses because the application would significantly alter land use policy in the downtown area. And the industrial uses are incompatible with surrounding properties, including nearby businesses and housing. And it should be noted that there is a 5-story building with apartments and offices that is currently under construction across the street from this property, just on the other side of Mars Street. The permit also does not align with the intent of the zoning bylaw, the corporate strategic plan, up-down district revitalization strategy, or community planning best practices for downtown areas. Golson Forest Products purchased the property in 2013, and no business license has been issued to the property since it was a Zeller's department store. And since 2018, there has been a history of complaints received by the city related to industrial noise and bylaw noncompliance. In June 2025, the Community Safety Department issued a compliance letter to the owner, and the owner applied for a temporary use permit. If council does not approve the permit, the owner will be required to comply with the commercial zoning or relocate to an industrial property where those uses they're requesting would be permitted. How the owner complies with the commercial zoning is for them to determine and then apply for a business license, which would be reviewed by staff. If council approves the temporary use permit, the owner should obtain a business license with the required building and fire safety inspections and bring the property into compliance with the zoning bylaw general regulations. Council can choose to not issue the temporary use permit, or council can approve the permit with conditions. And again, administration is recommending that the council not issue the permit. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now invite members of the public to speak to this application. If there's anybody that would like to step up and offer, I'll welcome this lady here.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Alexandra Pombria. I'm the CFO of the Colson Group. I appreciate the opportunity to come forward to talk about our application. The temporary use permit that we're asking for is for the existing uses of the building. Colson endeavors to be a good neighbor, non-disruptive, supportive of our surrounding businesses. It's not realistic for the building to be a commercial building again, a department store. It's not the reality of businesses today. We will happily cooperate with the city for any inspections or any other requests. We have had business license there before. We used to operate Colson Ice Blast. We had a business license for that location, and those were the noise complaints were related to that, not the existing business that we have there now. So that business was dissolved, didn't make it financially, so we had to shut down that business. Colson also works with the local charities to try to make the place look as nice as possible with the beautiful displays, which we offer to the local charities free of charge, with the rotating different displays that they put forward. We are very appreciative of our local businesses, and we do support local businesses regularly. We do buy local. And we've made a significant investment in Port Alberni, including the work that goes on in that building, including all the people that are employed in that building. We're more than happy to work with formal rezoning if the temporary use is not the right avenue, and to apply for a formal rezoning if that's the best path forward. And we're more than happy to comply with any inspections that want to happen. We are open to that. We've always been open to any inspections that have come in the past as well. We respectfully request the approval of our temporary use permit, and we welcome input from other members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this? Yeah, come on up.
They're basically a neighbor to me. The report.
Sorry, could you just give your name and...
Matt Stabler, 2900 block, 2nd Avenue.
Thanks, Matt.
I walk my dogs by that building every single day. The thought that they are generating noise pollution is beyond ridiculous. Doesn't happen, ever. I'm there every day. I think that alienating one of the largest employers this city has by denying their application or finding a path forward is a drastic mistake. They have been an excellent corporate neighbor. They have supported this community all the way around the dial. I urge you, you support them in return.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this? All right, council, would somebody like to make a motion for discussion? Councillor Patola.
Thank you, Chair Dame. I move that council not issue temporary use permit number 25-04 at 2907 3rd Avenue.
Moved by Councillor Patola, seconded by by Councillor Mealy, sorry. Yeah. I know. Unintentional. Any discussion? Yes. Councillor Solda.
So I have a hard time with this because we know that particular building is huge, and to try to fill that at this moment in time and day and age will be interesting. We know that Coulson is a good neighbor in the fact that the charities, through Vancouver, Port Alberni Hospital Foundation. There's so many things I could name. The windows that they let the charities in there and do any displays and different things. That the frontage is fine. I don't know what's happening inside because I've never been inside, which is fair enough. But I have and the reason I have a hard time with this particular application is because just last council meeting, we had the same issue with the old Woolworths building. But then I look at it, when I start looking at it, try to be logical as much as I can, I look at it, the Woolworths building is a storage house. There's no staff in there unless they come across the street and have to move furniture from A to B. So that is a quandary that I look at. And then I look at where the Coulson building, it's full of people. They're working, they are working, and so it's a hard one to balance. It'll be interesting to hear from the rest of council in which direction I go. And we do have some other buildings that are in the same boat in that area too, and I'm not sure who the owners are, where it is just storage. But this is a different type of usage that's happening there. So I have to look at it, what's more valuable in our community, and try to realize we have a small business and we have a bigger company that is much larger in our community. But do I look at the value of that, or how do I balance that? And I will make that decision at the end of the rest of council's comments.
Other comments? Councillor Mealy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Thank you very much to Coulson Group CFO for coming. I appreciate that. And again, I'm like Councillor Solda. I haven't seen the building, been inside in years. Last time I was probably there buying bread at IGA and taking a tour on the Zeddy little thing for kids or something like that a long time ago. But in saying that, it is interesting to hear that the representative from Coulson Group says that it's not going to go back to a C7 usage because of what's been done to the inside of the building. So I guess my question is why weren't we talking about an actual rezoning instead of the temporary use permit? And then the second would be, and I'm not sure if there's anybody willing to do that, but we have people from the Uptown Merchants area and Uptown. I would like to hear their take on the building and what it's become over the last few years, if that's possible here, because they're the neighbors. They're the ones that have been around, and it's nice to hear that, talking about the noise issues that have been there, that's been alleviated, and not just by yourself from the Coulson Group, but also by neighbors have already said that it's a lot quieter than what it was once they changed the operations in there. So I guess my question is, was there a reason why the applicant came with a temporary use permit rather than a full-on rezoning application, fully knowing that if the building is what it is, it's never going to go back to C7. We should just rezone it and be done with it. If that's never going to be another Woodward's, and it's not never going to be another Zeller's, and it's not, then why didn't we just deal with it? Was that a choice? And I apologize, maybe was that a choice on the applicant's part, or was it a suggestion from staff? And then again, if there's somebody perhaps from, and I see that she's standing up, or somebody from the Uptown that would like to talk as a neighbor as well, and just kind of give me an idea of their take on that building as well, that would help council out, at least help me.
Sure, yeah, come on up.
I can speak to the temporary use versus the formal rezoning, and that was just recommendation of staff. And if it should go through formal rezoning, then we're happy to go that path as well.
So then I guess then was your follow-up, you wanted to hear if staff had a comment on why?
No, that's enough for me
That's good for you?
on the actual why the rezoning came forward in this regard. So I know staff's doing their best job and trying to make a lot of things move in the city at the same time. So I totally understand. And this is the most amount of temporary use permits I've ever seen on council, and it all has come in the last 6 months. So I appreciate the work that staff's doing. But again, if the consensus is that building is never going to be a C7 operation, if it's going to be something else, then we should just rezone it to that.
Go ahead, Development Services Director.
I think this has already been said by the manager or planner, but this is a land use decision that council's being asked to consider. Council's being asked to consider industrial type uses in our commercial downtown core. When we met with the Colson's group, we did give them some, both avenues. A temporary use permit is a temporary permit as it transitions, from a non-permitted use to potentially something else. I understand what the previous uses there. From a land use planning perspective, and the Colson Group is the owner of the building, and they have business decisions to make on how that use the building. But given the location in our commercial core, I would not want to say that it could never be reused for commercial purposes.
Thanks. Yeah, I think my struggle here is that I don't want to get into comparing TUPs, and I don't want to get into I want to look at this as a land use, as what and what our community envisions for that area, and making sure that we protect the integrity of that, regardless of who is involved and how, what value that may or may not add to the community. And so with that in mind, I agree with Councillor Mealy that I do question why this wouldn't be better off as a rezoning, other than if it's a temporary use permit to transition to something else, then that could make sense. But that doesn't seem to be what's being presented to us right now, that this is a transitionary move. I don't, if the goal is to rezone it, then that public process should happen, rather than a temporary use permit that leads us to just postponing that process and cutting out public input from that process. So that's my thoughts on the matter. Councillor Pichula?
Thank you, Chair Dame. I think I agree with Chair Dame with regards to approaching the temporary use process as a process for land use and not comparing buildings. Councillor Solda gave examples of other buildings. I haven't been in them, but I don't need to be in them, because what we're talking about is land use and the rules of land use. And I'm sorry that it's got to come from somebody that used to be a lawyer, but rules is rules. And so I think the rules need to be followed. And to be classified as a good neighbor, it means that you are following the rules that your neighbors follow. Now, I think Colson Group of Companies has in many ways been an excellent asset and made this community what it is today. Without that group of companies, we certainly wouldn't have half of the t-shirts I see in town with the Mars water bomber on them. But that's just a local example of all the good that they have done in this community. Having said that, I must question whether or not a good neighbor is someone who takes authority into their own hands, pirates the authority of city council instead of supporting city council by effectively changing the use of a building and then coming to council and saying it can't be changed back, so it has to be given industrial use, while still knowing that they could have applied for that bylaw change before ruining the commercial aspects of the building. I think the public has always wanted that building to be commercial because that's how it's zoned and that's how it is still zoned. And it's only when enforcement proceedings began taking place that the current users wanted to get a permission or accommodation. instead of following the rules, which are the rules for everybody. So I am quite happy that there's consideration for a bylaw rezoning process. I think that's the appropriate action. As I said previously on other issues, this is not something that I think council even has authority on because it's not a temporary use being applied for. It's the authority to continue unauthorized use ad infinitum. I will be, during the hearing, if there is one on the bylaw amendment, questioning the appropriateness of a fire retardant chemical lab in a residential commercial area. And that would certainly be an issue that would have to be addressed quite clearly as to even what that is, since not even the fire department that would be charged with protecting the public from whatever that use is are informed as to what that use is. So I am very alarmed that such an activity would be taking place in our community, very alarmed at the danger that it puts our community into, and I would welcome a proper review of that at the earliest instant, but I certainly am not supporting a temporary use permit.
Thank you. Councillor Verbrugge.
I'm curious how many employees are employed there and where do they park? I recall when I was a young fellow, Woodward's in its heyday, there was a lot of employees, I don't know how many, hundreds, and all three parking lots were quite often full of people shopping and working. And we're down to, I have no idea, 20? And where do they park now? Because there's no parking. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no idea how many employees would be working in that building, and I'm not, is there someone here who would like to speak to that? Thanks.
Thank you for the questions. In terms of employees, on a regular basis, it's about 20 employees that are there, but we coordinate with our airport location as well. So sometimes we have to bring in a few more workers down to the old Zellers building location and so on. And I just want to clarify a little bit on the fire retardant lab, since that seems to be a point of concern. And there is basically an R&D right now, so it's not producing chemical retardants in that way. It's really just a development thing so that we can look at that for our aerial firefighting business. So the intent is not for that to become a manufacturing facility for fire retardant. And we did provide a full list as it was requested by the staff members from Jacqueline, you know, in terms of what it is that's on hand as well. But it's really just an R&D thing at this point. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Solda has a question for you, if you don't mind remaining at the podium for a moment.
Hi, just a quick question. So do you use the whole building, including in front of the windows and everything? Like, you know, how it goes down the stairs and?
It's used for various storage that is in there. So mostly like for aircraft parts. On that, the upholstery shop is up on one of the upper floors. And the fire retardant R&D section is on one of the upper floors that we've renovated as well. Yeah.
I always thought it would have been interesting to take half that building and make it storefronts at one point, you know, just block off the wall. That was my thoughts years back.
No, I appreciate that. It's bursting at the seams as it is. Coulson is a successful business, you know, and we're looking to grow even more. We just bought 4 C-130s from the New Zealand Air Force, you know, and so that means there's more parts to bring in, catalog and store, which creates employment as well, because we do need workers to deal with that. So, and some of that's going to be over at the building that's on 3rd Street as well. The alternative really is for us to, if we had to move out, is to go build somewhere else, potentially outside of Port Alberni as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Solda.
I believe Uptown Merchant Rep wanted to speak at one point, so could we allow them, or do you need a motion for that?
No, there is this public are allowed to speak during this application. So yeah, come on up, Caroline.
Is it on? Yeah. So I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I did meet with Alexandra, and we did talk about everything that is in there. And our Uptown Merchant Group has talked a lot about Coulson's because of dealing with the other one. But for the majority of us, we were all in favor because they keep it clean, they shop in our stores, they're a good neighbor. We personally, the majority of us, do not have a problem with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just make the last comment here, if, unless anybody else has anything to say, that these things are challenging because these are members of our community. We appreciate these businesses. We appreciate these people. We can see that there's a lot of good to what they're doing and to what the value that they bring. But at the end of the day, this is still a land use issue. And we still have industrial use in a commercial area that is not allowed. So I can't, for that reason, I have to remove myself emotionally from this decision and look at it at exactly what it is. And I can't support it. However, I also don't believe that this will be the end of the discussion in terms of that building and its use. And if the intention is to go through a rezoning process, well, then that's a much more thorough process that includes public engagement, and we can hear from the community and see if this is something that the community feels strongly about. I value commercial areas, and I value what they bring to a city, and I know that ours has struggled over the years. But I think that it's worth protecting these spaces for their intended use. And so that's why these bylaws exist. That's why the rules exist. And that's what I'm going to lean on for this decision. So are there any other comments before we call the question? All right. On the motion, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to release of in-camera resolutions. Would somebody like to make that motion? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. I move that council receive release of in-camera resolutions 2025 annual disclosure dated January 26, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Solda. And before we vote, did the corporate officer have any comments? I should have sent it your way first. Okay, great. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor? None opposed? Motion carried.
If I may continue, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, you may.
I move that council approve updated policy number 3002-6, release of in-camera resolutions dated January 26th, 2026.
Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Solda. No discussion, all in favor? Motion carried. Moving on to a notice of motion provided January 19th. Councillor Solda.
All right. Sorry, just getting organized. Still back at that last motion. I'll move that the council direct staff to prepare a report outlining potential city-led program options to support businesses experiencing challenges related to crime and disruption stemming from social disorder, including resources for security enhancement and support for our community collaboration initiatives. And then I'll say something after a second.
Sure.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. It's a notice of motion,
Oh, yes.
so there's no discussion. And
That's
it's
right.
just noticing a, thank you for the notice.
Okay. Next meeting, I'll have comment.
I'll second it for you.
Okay. All right. So a notice of motion has been given. Thanks, Councillor Solda. Moving on to question period. Are there any members of the public that would like to come up and ask? Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor. I have a point of order. I believe there was an additional notice of motion coming as item 7. Councillor Haggard.
I believe what she stated at the beginning.
It was a motion.
Near the beginning of the meeting was the notice of motion.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
No
Chair.
problem. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So question period. Oh, Councillor Patola.
Thank you, Chair Dame, and not to be the legislative expert at all, but perhaps our legislative expert, corporate officer, could comment on Councillor Mealy's point. I see, as he did, that it says notice of motion, but it was the notice of motion that was provided on January 19th, which was a week ago. And therefore, we have had notice for a week, and this is the motion that we were given notice of a week ago. Perhaps the corporate officer could clarify my confusion.
That's correct. I was getting there if you weren't. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I did wonder about that. Okay, so Councillor Solda, then you've already read it as a motion. Okay. Seconded by Councillor Mealy. We'll get there. We'll get there. So moved and seconded. Are there any comments on this motion? Not notice of motion, on the motion. Councillor Patola.
I'll yield the floor
I apologize.
to Councillor Solda if she wishes to
I should have let
introduce her
Councillor Solda
motion.
speak to her motion first, and then Councillor Patola.
So I can make comments about the motion? Oh, wow, okay. So I just wanted to bring this motion forward because I know the businesses and surrounding residents are having a lot of issues in not just in the uptown area here, but Redford and other areas in the community. So why I brought this forward is because there must be something that we can do to help. I noticed that in Parksville, it's interesting as an idea, they have uptown security, and the uptown merchants actually put some money into it, and then security is always walking and going around the community. I know a lot of issues that they do have are in the evening here in this community, and when the businesses are closed, oh, let's go shopping, and maybe it's something, it'll be interesting to see the staff report coming back. Do we need them during the day, or do we need security in the evenings, and to check. But then again, I do have concerns, and I do want staff to look at that too. Is, again, I've said it many times, when mom and dad tells you not to touch, and as soon as their back's done, what do? We touch. So how do we know security is walking down the street, somebody's looking at going into a shop, oh, there's security, as soon as they walk down a block, we're breaking in. So how do we look at that picture? We can't be all to everyone. So I'll be waiting for that report. So thank you.
Councillor Patola.
Thanks, Chair Dame. Yeah, it's always good to have more information, but I would be concerned at this point that asking for a further report would use staff time that could be better applied to the current programs that we already have and are in the process of implementing and have not yet come to fruition yet. I think specifically of the neighborhood mitigation plan. That includes activities of multiple different groups, including the citizens on patrol and bylaw and police and other service providers in the community to establish the collaboration, as set out here, of community initiatives that are designed to have a positive effect on diminishing the disorder that we find on our streets. I don't know what resources we would rather put into security enhancements that we have not already in our budget put forward for those types of security enhancements that are all set out in the neighborhood mitigation plan. So in a way, I'm supporting Councillor Solda's motion, but supporting it in the sense of noting, I think these things are already on the table and are progressing. May have not come to fruition at this point, and certainly recognize that people are still, businesses and residents are still being, for lack of a better turn of phrase, still having to put up with the social disorder. But that is what we should be focusing on, and I know that we have committed significant resources towards enabling that and continue to be budgeting for further resources to enable that program to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Solda.
Oh, we're going to debate. So current programs, there are current programs. Yes, there is. And I agree that I have no issues about collaborating with other things that we are doing. But this might not be a security person walking around. It could be help fix a broken window. It could do other things, you know. And we do have a clean team, but there's other things we can do for them. And all I want is a report. It wouldn't happen until at least Q2, in our Q2 of the city. And because it's not going to unfortunately happen yesterday. So there's a lot more that can be done. So I think the best thing is to get that report. Let's see what they have. And if any of the businesses out there want to add their input to it, I am assuming they can write to the city or collaborate with or contact corporate services. I don't know. Maybe staff can help me with that one if they have some input, or can they be part of the discussion, what they think too?
Through the chair, thanks for the question. I think we're always open to input, especially if council passes the motion that we bring forward a report. My understanding from the committee of the whole that this motion was more around a program for enhancements that would help the actual businesses deal with the issues and not the city providing the service. So examples were on the graffiti program, the facade improvement, etc. So again, what we'd be looking at is if we do spend the staff time on and the motion is successful, we will look at what other communities are doing out there and then bring a report back. I have not talked with staff about what quarter this report would be able to come down, because our first sort of task is the community mitigation plan and making sure that is being fulfilled. That was one of council's directives for the safety aspect of our downtown, and we have applied for a grant. So if that is successful, there will be further work to do there. But administration, again, would put this in our work queue if it is successful today.
So I would like to still see the other reason for bringing it. I mean, I just don't want a report. I also want, there's going to be dollars associated with this, and there's a cost. So if windows get smashed, it might not, we don't pay for the whole thing, but there might be a percentage, or there's something we can help. And that's what I'm looking at too. I mean, I would like a little budget put in. The amount just depends what we are looking at in a big picture from your report. So just to be clear on that. Thank you.
Councillor Haggard.
Thank you. As part of the research during our first term, Councillor Cabale, Mayor Minions, and myself went to visit the Community Safety Building in Campbell River to see how they operated. We wanted to get ideas so we can incorporate those ideas into our Community Safety Building. And one of the things that they did, they had cameras strategically placed in areas in their downtown core. So as these cameras are being watched in the office, if there was some kind of activity going on, either a bylaw officer or an RCMP officer, depending what the infraction was, would immediately be sent to that area to try and disrupt the bad behavior. If nothing else, and we did have a discussion about it, my apologies, I can't remember why we didn't proceed with that, but I think that might be something, and if there is some kind of activity going on, at least it is on camera for the RCMP officers to review at a later date. So we might want to look at that as part of our security enhancements for the downtown core.
Thanks. Anyone else? Oh, go ahead, CAO.
Thanks, Councillor Haggard, for the advice to reach out to Campbell River. I know if cameras were to be actively monitored and resources sent out for action, that would come at a cost, and we could analyze that. Again, we wouldn't just be looking at Campbell River, we would look at a wide swath. I know there were several communities mentioned also in the committee of the whole. Again, that's what takes the time is the research. If we put up cameras in any public space, there is a privacy impact study that has to be done, and the footage has to be kept in a certain way and only certain people can access it. Those are come along with some cost as well. But again, we would analyze all that, and as Councillor Solda said, any recommendation that we would bring back would have the costs involved in that, in delivering that service.
Anyone else? Okay, Councillor Mealy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just Mr. Fox was talking about that and the privacy laws, of course. So I totally understand that, because you wouldn't want the camera to be, those footage to be seen by anybody. However, we're in the process of getting, this is just, step 4 from this point on, but we're in the process of getting body worn cams to the RCMP. We have a special room inside the RCMP detachment to deal with that. Is that not something we can piggyback onto, if that's the way we're going? Again, this is step 1. We're talking step 4, but it just comes to mind.
CAO?
Thanks. Those are two very different systems. An RCMP body-worn camera is not transmitting 24/7 in one area. And there are very strict rules around it, hence the enhancements we had to do at the RCMP station for the storage, the data collection, etc. Something similar to that wouldn't be needed for these types of cameras. I know that currently there are private cameras that RCMP rely on regularly, but there are private cameras. When the public institution puts out cameras collecting public information, there are safeguards that need to be put in place.
I understand that. The thought was to have a server and a screen in that room, and so only certain people can go in, and only RCMP can go in. And so that was just kind of my thought process, but I totally understand. Thank you, Mr. Fox.
Thanks. Any other comments before we call the question? Seeing none, everybody's clear on the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Now it's question period. Are there any members of the public who would like to come up and ask a question on a topic that was on the agenda? Yeah, come on up.
Opposite. I just have a question. Since Councillor Deb Haggard has put forward the motion to talk about the zoning on 2nd Avenue, are we allowed then to discuss that motion that she brought in earlier?
I don't believe so, but I'll put it to staff just to check. Go ahead and see it.
Thanks for the question. Councillor Haggard's was not about anything about zoning. It was about a possible lease with BC Housing and the different types of housing that could be located in the community. So, when that motion comes forward to the next council meeting, we will discuss whether or not council will be going, as her motion indicated, to see what other communities on types of supportive housing and the lease requirements for those such endeavors.
Can I say anything to that?
No, we're going to stick to the plan regarding the agenda.
That's too bad.
Yeah, this is our policy in every meeting, and we have it for a reason. So thanks for asking.
Can we be informed as to, how do I say this? It's too bad that you've dismissed the people that have come out today. It's unfortunate. We have a lot to say about low-barrier housing. We're very concerned about our community. And I hope you are as well when considering this kind of housing. I really hope you take this into consideration. We're not against the housing being put there. We're just against what kind of housing is going there.
I understand.
Moving forward, I hope you all take that into consideration.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anybody else that wants to ask any questions regarding the agenda? Come on up.
Hello, everybody. So I guess my question...
Sorry, just your name and your
Lee
place of
Hosman,
residence.
3100 Block 4th Avenue. My main question seems to be that everything that's come up today that has been in any sort of conflict seems to be arising from the health and safety of the public. All of the rezoning applications, all of the issues with Colson regarding health and safety of the products that they're making and that we don't know. Health and safety regarding zoning permits to allow whether or not we're going to have RVs or trailers in situations where they've been deemed not healthy or safe long-term. And I guess my question is, sort of following up on her, is what is being done in an equal and appropriate response to supporting this housing to provide that health and safety to the community who is clearly opposed for many reasons to the decisions that are being made? Because as we all know, as residents of the area, between the hours of midnight and 6, as you mentioned, you are curious as to when a lot of crimes were happening. That's when they happen. And encouraging housing is wonderful. And I'm curious, when you encourage housing, you must also accept that there's going to be an amount of behavior that needs to be responded to from the people who are compromised living in these housing developments.
Sure. Do you have a question?
So my question is, what is happening? What is being done to ensure there is an appropriate response to provide the health and safety to the community while also offering the supportive housing? Because when you offer the housing, you are inevitably signing
The
up for
supportive
more
housing
problems.
unit, though, is not.
Huh?
It's not on the agenda, and I will comment that the decision that council made, which I was recused from, and so I'm not going to get into it, but I will just say that it was a zoning decision at this point.
Yeah.
And so I understand that there's a lot of concern in this room. I understand that moving forward, there will be continued input from the community in a variety of ways, and I think that's good and important. This meeting just doesn't have an opportunity for that. That's all.
Yes.
Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you.
Thanks. I might be able to address the concern. Again, I think every housing application, whatever type of housing it is, has an effect on the neighborhoods, as we've seen in multiple rezoning applications throughout the community on all different types of housing, whether it's multiplexes, whether it's condos, whether it's the number of stories, et cetera. When there's an OCP and there's a public input, there's usually different sides and thoughts around it. Council does consider that. A lot of topics on the agenda today, including a lot of the temporary use permits, come out of, and this mitigation, the safety mitigation strategy, come out of council's goal of trying to create a more inclusive and safe community. So there are many ongoing initiatives to try and create that complete community and look at all those aspects. On continuing forward on all different applications, I would really encourage public to reach out to administration to find out the process, what happens, what actually is zoning and bylaw decisions, and what actually is lease and leasehold applications. And that can be explained from administration. So again, council has that difficult job of balancing the whole community, 7 people entrusted with the votes of the community to make the right decisions. And I'm sure that this will be an ongoing discussion as it moves forward, but each rezoning does have an effect. Each temporary use permit has an effect, and so does the safety mitigation strategies. And it is striking that balance that council tries to do every single council meeting. So I think that would be my response to what is council doing about each and every zoning and also some of the safety mitigation.
Thanks. Are there any other questions? Gentleman at the back, and then I'll come back to you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Wright. I live on Helen Road. I own a house down there. And I was driving by today and I saw the signs up there. Now, I know I have to speak to your agenda, and your agenda seemed to be focused somewhat on safety issues and interaction with people that need housing. And I want to say myself that I don't think it's a good idea to put the 50 people in one building. I think you've got to deal with the people on the street in a different way totally. I went to university and I saw when they closed down Eric Martin, how all those people went out onto the street. I think a different solution is needed, and putting people in the uptown. I'm an artist too. I have the sculptures up on the Sands Mound. I think there's another way to go about it, and you're ruining the woman's life next door who owns
Sir,
a house there. So I know it's not on your agenda, but it's the
Sir,
elephant in the room. So
sir,
the elephant
please.
in the room says, please consider.
Sir. Okay, so I've tried to communicate how this needs to go.
I know you have, I've listened.
Yeah, we're just trying to protect the process of how
Right.
we go about the city
But I
business.
think this process is, today,
In
you're missing
no,
the main question.
Sir,
Thank you very much. Adios.
I don't want anybody to feel like they were silenced or cut off or anything like that.
I'm good with it.
Okay, we have to have everything happen in its proper place and time, and there has been.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Again, I just want to speak to Mike's input on how the process works. The only problem we have with the process of city council is we, as the community, would like the council members to be totally informed before voting on a rezoning or development. We met with council members who had no idea what the rezoning process was and what they were looking at proposed for a certain rezoning.
Thanks. Did you? Oh, I didn't see a hand. Go ahead. Mike.
Through the chair, I'm more than happy to have a discussion after the meeting with you.
And that's, it should be said that if anybody has questions that are regarding things that are on the agenda, council members, city staff, we're all willing to meet up, to have conversations, to read your emails, to communicate with you in a variety of ways. It's just not this question period, that's all. Did anybody else have any questions regarding the agenda? All right, seeing none.
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Hello, my name is Barb McLean. Hi, my name is Barb McLean. I am living in Port Alberni at this time. Seems to me that given today what you have covered, it's been said to all of the people here who are here for some pretty clear reasons that this will be addressed at a different time. I was wondering if you could clarify when exactly that time is that the people of Port Alberni will have the time to speak on these issues before decisions are made, which would seem to be relevant.
Sure, yeah, thanks for the question. So the zoning decision, as in the land use decision, that period has ended and a decision has been made. So there is no further opportunity for public input on that. Now, as far as, well, maybe I should let CAO, do you want to just chime in on that just to make sure?
Yeah, thanks. Just for clarity, the city still has ownership, retains ownership of the property that everybody is here to talk about. And we are waiting for a lease agreement from BC Housing. In a lease agreement, that will have the specifications that address non-zoning issues. So I encourage people, like you have been, is informing councillor and administration of your concerns. Those concerns can either be addressed in the lease or in a way that council deems fair for the full city of Port Alberni. In the end, we will see if the development moves forward. Again, if a lease agreement can't be met, then you will not see the building. But that does not change the zoning decision that council has made. So the zoning decision that council has made, the land now is rezoned and the OCP has changed. So, but we do not have a lease agreement with BC Housing at this time. I hope that's clear enough for council.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, sir, could you clarify what that zoning what that zoning was? What is the, you stated it, but what is the zoning decision?
Through the chair, it was on the last agenda, I believe, or one of the agendas. I don't have the exact zoning off the top of my head right now, but it was on the agenda and is in the public record.
And so given that this meeting is about specific zonings or zoning decisions, that zoning decision, because it was in the last, is not a part of the discussion here today?
That is correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? Yeah, come on up.
Is it on or do I? Hi, Carolyn Jaskin, City of Port Alberni. I wasn't going to speak either, and like another gentleman, I was going uptown for other reasons, and oh yeah, see what this is all about. I think we're all looking at language and everything that we can pounce on that can open the doors for the people of Port Alberni, because we feel very cut off. Like this barricade here, we're very cut off. And like the reception area outside, very cut off from City Hall for some reason. But I just wanted to speak because Councillor Dame mentioned emails. We can email the city. Well, over the last year and a half, 2 years, maybe 3, I haven't had my emails answered. And most recently was about 3 weeks ago. And then I came up here in person and spoke with the receptionist and gave her my name and information, and I still have not heard back, so I just wanted to clear that up. But also I wanted to speak to Cindy Solda's motion, as I understand I can speak to that. Okay, so she talked about collaboration, so I'm gonna jump on that word. Collaboration has to happen in the city of Port Alberni. As you know, I'm president of the Thai Club, and I'm by no means speaking on their behalf right now, but the collaboration at Clutesy just was not there with the fishermen. And that's something that has to happen to the common people in Port Alberni. You're missing out on a lot of good ideas and information to collaborate on. That's all people are asking. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. Does anybody have any questions? Come on, give it a go.
I just wanted to say goodbye to Mike and say thank you, because it's been a rough few years since COVID. You came in the middle of it, and we have grown under your leadership and your work. And I think to everybody tonight, really hard conversations. And I mean, even Todd, we have our differences, but I really respected your words tonight. So thank you. And I think that we're all on the same page, so we can kind of come together and move forward. But Mike, thank you for your leadership for the last bit, and many blessings ahead.
Thanks, Graham. Anyone else? Moved by Councillor Mealy, seconded by Councillor Patola. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.